Good morning and welcome, brothers and sisters, my fellow brothers and sisters. Um, this morning, or for some maybe evening, I am going to read from the Urantia book. And as you all can see, today the book reading, the live book reading, is all about the European Dark Ages and the modern problem. And thank you so much for listening to this live book reading. And I will now go to the following screen in which you can read with me. And that is the Urantia online book. All right. We are now going to, let me see, a little bit back. Wait a minute. A separate screen. So, sermon. Oh, wait a minute. Sorry. It is from paper 195 from the Urantia book. And let me find the. Yes, all right. Well, let's start with the reading. I need to make this screen. All right. And it's in actuality all about, also all about the history of the church. This whole paper 195 is in actuality all about the movement of the church after Pentecost. And the Father asked me to read for you today all about the European Dark Ages. All right, let's start. The European Dark Ages. The Church, being an adjunct to society and the ally of politics, was doomed to share in the intellectual and spiritual decline of the so-called European Dark Ages. During this time, religion became more and more monasticized, um, ascetic, so asceticized, all about as asceticized. English is not really my first language, and legalized. In a spiritual sense, Christianity was hibernating throughout this period. There existed alongside this slumbering and secularized religion a continuous stream of mysticism, a fantastic spiritual experience bordering on unreality and philosophically akin to pantheism. During these dark and despairing centuries, religion became virtually second-handed again. The individual was almost lost before the overshadowing authority, tradition, and dictation of the church. A new spiritual menace arose in the creation of a galaxy of so-called, because it is standing between quotation marks, saints who were assumed to have special influence at the divine courts and who therefore, if effectively appealed to, would be able to intercede in man's behalf before the gods. But Christianity was sufficiently socialized and paganized that while it was important to stay the oncoming Dark Ages, it was the better prepared to survive this long period of moral darkness and spiritual stagnation. And it did persist on through the long night of Western civilization and was still functioning as a moral influence in the world when the Renaissance dawned. The rehabilitation of Christianity, following the passing of the Dark Ages, resulted in bringing into existence numerous sects of the Christian teachings, beliefs suited to special intellectual, emotional, and spiritual types of human personality. So these sects were, in actuality, very much created by humans. And as we all know, as soon as people are unsatisfied with something that they find in the church, then they immediately go to create a new stream. And sorry. And they create a new stream. And this also happened with Luther. He was not really satisfied what he found, so he started his own streaming. And so through this, many what is now called many different streams and churches arose. So, and many of these special Christian groups or religious families still persist at the time of the making of this presentation. Christianity exhibits a history of having originated out of the unintended transformation of the religion of Jesus into a religion about Jesus. And that is the whole point here. The most information mentioned in the Bible about Jesus is indeed about Jesus, but it's not over Jesus' religion. And that's the whole thing, because the majority of humans lack an in-depth background about Jesus, his life as a human here on earth, and deeper understanding of what he in actuality was teaching. It further presents the history of having experienced Hellenization, paganization, secularization, institutionalization, intellectual deterioration, spiritual decadence, moral hibernation, threatened extinction, later rejuvenation, fragmentation, and a more recent relative rehabilitation. Such a pedigree is indicative of inherent vitality and the possession of vast recuperative resources. And this same Christianity is now present in the civilized world of the Occidental peoples and stands face to face with a struggle for existence which is even more ominous than those eventful crises which have characterized its past battles for dominance. Religion is now confronted by the challenge of a new age of scientific minds and materialistic tendencies in this gigantic struggle between the secular and the spiritual. The religion of Jesus will eventually triumph. All right, and with this said, we have come to the end of the first chapter that I had to read to you this day, this morning, this evening, because in my place, the Netherlands, it's now morning, but I know that there are many of you that are in the evening time zone. All right, let's continue to chapter 5, the modern problem. The 20th century has brought new problems for Christianity and all other religions to solve. The higher a civilization climbs, the more necessitous becomes the duty to, between quotation marks, seek first the realities of heaven in all of man's efforts to stabilize society and facilitate the solution of its material problems. Truth often becomes confusing and even misleading when it is dismembered, segregated, isolated, and too much analyzed. Living truth teaches the truth seeker aright only when it is embraced in wholeness and as a living spiritual reality, not as a fact of material science or an inspiration of intervening art. Religion is the revelation to man of his divine and eternal destiny. And with this said, I will take a little break here. We are so conditioned that we need a holy book and that we need to stay stuck to this book and to all these sacred, so-called sacred books and papers and whatever you have. But that is in actuality not in the meaning. Because if it was truly in the meaning, then Jesus would have left us a perfectly written book. But that's not the case. Jesus was here to remind us that we all are a child of God, the universal Father, the creator and source of the living light and life itself. We are born as a child of God. And if you truly believe this with your whole heart, mind, and spirit and soul, you are entering God's kingdom. You do not have to read a Bible, being baptized, or whatever. If you want to baptize, okay, if that is something you like to do because it gives you really the connection, then okay, then you do. But it's not a must. Jesus taught us clearly God's plan. And what is God's plan in actuality? Well, God's plan is creating a spiritual brotherhood of man here on earth and in all worlds in this universe, and then have this world and all worlds in this universe enter the light and life. So entering into the status of light and life. That is in actuality God's plan. But to realize this, first We need to build this spiritual brotherhood. But how can we build this spiritual brotherhood if we are constantly in a fight with each other? A fight that is in actuality based on human ideas, lies, perceptions, assumptions, illusions. Jesus also came here to speak the good news. Well, what is the good news? That is simple. The message: you are a very much loved child of God. God has created you, has let you born through a human female into existence. So enjoy this whole being a child of God. That is the only thing that you need to remember. That's whom you are. You are a child of God. It's so simple. Who is in this world to make the first steps in learning to live as brothers and sisters with each other. So let's continue the book reading. Religion is the revelation to man of his divine and eternal destiny. Religion is a purely personal and spiritual experience and must forever be distinguished from man's other high forms of thought, such as 1. Man's logical attitude toward the things of material reality. 2. Man's aesthetic appreciation of beauty contrasted with ugliness. 3. Man's ethical recognition of social obligations and political duty. And 4. Even man's sense of human morality is not, in and of itself, religious. Religion is designed to find those values in the universe which call forth faith, trust, and assurance. Religion culminates in worship. Religion discovers for the soul those supreme values which are in contrast with the relative values discovered by the mind. Such superhuman insight can be had only through genuine religious experience. What is genuine religious experience? Well, this in actuality means a living connection between you and God the Father, who lives in you. You abide in him and he is in you. You live in and through God, and God lives in and through you. So that is another thing that you may remember. God is in you, God lives in you and expresses himself through you, and you are in God. And you live life through God. That is what Jesus said. I am in the Father, and the Father is in me. And he also said, if you have seen me, you have seen the Father. Because eventually, if we are going to see in each other the Father himself, because we are acknowledging that we all are children of God, then this world will reflect it in every single thing that we do. The character and personality and image of God himself. I continue. A lasting social system without a morality predicated on spiritual realities can no more be maintained than could the solar system without gravity. Do not try to satisfy the curiosity or gratify, I mean. So I repeat, do not try to satisfy the curiosity or gratify all the latent adventure searching within the soul in one short life in the flesh. Be patient, be not tempted to indulge in a lawless plunge into cheap and sordid adventure. Harness your energies and bridle your passions. Be calm, be calm, while you await the majestic unfolding of an endless career of progressive adventure and thrilling discovery. Lovely brothers and sisters, beautiful children of God, you have been born into this world to start your endless career of progressive adventure and thrilling discovery that eventually will lead you into paradise. But this is an adventure that takes a huge amount of time and can take at least 1,000,000 years. And let's enjoy it. Let's enjoy the idea that you are born, are in actuality uh, been born to go and step into this joyous adventure that eventually will lead you to paradise, and that you will discover in the life after this mortal life many other worlds and will come in contact with so many not yet named celestial beings. Some you do know, like the angels, but the human races here, or better said, God's children, I prefer to say it like that. All God's children here on earth have a distorted idea and image about angels. And that's something we will come into in a later moment as soon as the Father wants me to read the information about angels to you. So you are here in this world, born to eventually decide for yourself, because you have free will, if you want to go further with your path that leads you eventually into paradise. And you get many, many, many chances from the Father to come to your decision. So if it's not made in this life, you will get a chance in a new life, in the life that comes after this one, to make your decision. So that you know this. All right, I continue. In confusion over man's origin, do not lose sight of his eternal destiny. Forget not that Jesus loved even little children, and that he forever made clear the great worth of human personality. As you view the world, remember that the black patches of evil which you see are shown against a white background of ultimate good. You do not view merely white patches of good which show up miserably against a black background of evil. When there is so much good truth to publish and proclaim, why should man dwell so much upon the evil in the world just because it appears to be a fact. The beauties of the spiritual values of truth are more pleasurable and uplifting than is the phenomenon of evil. And that is a good point here, because we are so incredibly focused, and you almost can say obsessive, about evil. Our eye is more pointed to evil, and we are too much focused on evil than on the beauty that we see in this world. I sometimes also caught myself, in being too much focused on uh, the dark side of things instead of the beauty that God has given us. Despite all the things that are happening, and the fact that many uh, brothers and sisters are allowing to have this earth terraformed into something that has absolutely not to do with life at all, and are allowing um, ugliness to unfold in in the surroundings, which, what I mean is seeing uh, meadows completely filled with solar panels, and seas filled with all these ridiculous windmills and whatever. Um, it is about time that God's children are going to see through the agendas of these highly and utterly confused children of His, who think that they know how the world needs to be reformed. Well, these people are disconnected from love, truth, beauty, kindness, goodness, and thus disconnected from God. And as soon as they would allow God in their life, then they will see the ridiculousness of their ideas, of their idealism, and thus of their agendas. The concerning part in this is that too many people do not want to see that they are, in actuality, creating a world that goes into a next level of death. The last piece of text for today is, in religion, Jesus advocated and followed the method of experience, even as modern science pursues the technique of experiment. We find God through the leadings of spiritual insight, but we approach this insight of the soul through the love of the beautiful, the pursuit of truth, loyalty to duty, and the worship of divine goodness. But of all these values, love is the true guide to real insight. And the next time I will bring forth everything about materialism and also the vulnerability of materialism. But that's for the next time. For today, I have finished the reading, and thank you so much for participating in this. And thank you for listening to this book reading, this Live Urantia book reading. I will do this a few times per week. Could be every day, but for now, at least a few times per week. And a live book reading is a bit different than just hearing something from a pre-recorded video. All right, again, thank you so much and God bless you. Have a beautiful, joyful day and love you all.